I got an email. I got to read this real quick. This is from Case, and it's long. I won't read all of it, but enough of it. He's talking about wrestling. I love the sports aspect and always will. I'm a sports fan and have been since I was in 3rd grade, and watching wrestling helped me understand sports better and vice versa. While the NFLs of the world can still be ambiguous on who the good guys or bad guys are, professional wrestling seldom has that issue. Whatever implied fakeness exists is subsided by how the bad guys involved get to be at their most honest, which is not giving a shit about pissing off the fans or having to worry about repercussions of such actions. This is something that has carried over more and more over the years in sports that allegedly don't have predetermined outcomes. I knew who the bad guys were and why I should be mad at them. Cornette and the Midnight Express attacked the Rock and Roll Express, those chicken shit assholes. Eddie Gilbert helped some Russian representatives ambush Bill Watts so they could place the symbol of communism over his body. Fuck that guy. Today, we have jazz hands. We have entertainers. We have people who aren't good at being good or bad. They're just sort of there doing these circus acts and trying to manufacture some stupid-ass catchphrase. When's the last time fans got mad at a wrestler for doing bad guy wrestler things in the ring? Right, sure, MJF comes off as a grade A prick, which is why AEW seems content to have him be something other than that. But when's the last time people got angry at someone? When's the last time some true emotion came out of the audience? I don't mean, why are they pushing that guy crap, but something genuine. It's hard for me to think of anything, which is why I congratulate masked Smoky Mountain wrestling Nazi guy from the 1990s. He has accomplished what Kenny or whatever the buck and the young fucks haven't, and that's get people emotionally invested in booing someone. And he put a link to the Twitter. This was a few months ago, several months ago, but they were going ballistic on Twitter because somebody took a clip from one of the Smoky Mountain shows. We had the Stormtrooper wrestle Dixie Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
And you remember the controversy. And there's the guy in the with the swastika and the Nazi fucking boots and everything and the Nazi helmet, the Stormtrooper. And he's wrestling Scott Armstrong, who was Dixie Dynamite, who was masked and had the cape, and literally his entire outfit was all the Confederate flag. And they were actually not only mad about this 25 years later on Twitter, this guy was mad about this, but proof that Jim Cornette is a racist. He booked these gimmicks and he booked such a thing. The Stormtrooper, for those newer listeners, I can't even remember. You know what? Now I remember, but now I'm not going to say his name. I was going to say I don't remember what his name was, but I do now, but I won't say it because it might get him fired at this point if he has a real job now 25 years later. But he had worked this gimmick because he lived in North Carolina and had worked the gimmick for Continental where, he wasn't German, so he put a mask on because he didn't look German, but otherwise is the Von Brauners, the fucking shoulder strap black thing with the swastika and the goddamn, the German flag and the fucking Heil Hitler, whatever what's the goddamn salute called?
Sig Heil.
There you go. He's doing this shit, and he was actually on one of those tapes that was circulated from Continental in the late 80s. He was part of Ron Wright's stable when Ron had the Moondog and fucking the Stormtrooper and who knows what. It was the dying days, right?
It was actually USA when Ron USA back in Knoxville. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, this guy had called and said, hey, can I do TV for you? Sure. He said, well, I got a Stormtrooper gimmick. I said, okay, bring it. They thought that I legitimately came up with a guy called him the Stormtrooper, had an outfit made, and had him go out there so that he could fight Dixie Dynamite. No, actually, it was because he already had the shit. We only paid him $75. We wouldn't have paid to have an outfit made. He had the fucking gimmick already, and we didn't think anything of it. Nobody else did either. And there's all the people cheering for Dixie Dynamite because that was before everybody all of a sudden started hating the Confederate flag. And nobody thought anything of it. And 25 years later, this guy is mad on Twitter over that. And as we just referenced in the previous segment, as they say, look who the fucking president is for real in real life.
And by the way, it was all funded by a Jewish man from my old neighborhood. So
yes, from New York.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Case continues. Seriously, that Twitter dude bro is more pissed at the fact that someone wore a Nazi mask in the 1990s, back when doing such a thing was still frowned upon by basically everyone, instead of the some fine people shitheads we have running things now. He's more pissed at that than what Seth Rollins is doing or what Bray Wyatt and his band of production truck stooges are doing. Not sure of that reference, but anyway. Well, and seriously, why are people in the production truck helping a wrestler fuck over another wrestler? I don't know why they play the music on the run-ins either, unless they're psychic. Case says if someone pulled that shit on Magnum TA would punch Bob Geigel again and then go after the JCP production guys. Well, except for maybe Jackie Crockett. This is what's wrong more than anything else when it comes to today's wrestling. It lacks a soul. It's this homogenized product that no longer screams fake sport, but instead just screams fake, period. Where are the heels? Where are the bad guys who aren't interested in being cool? Who aren't trying to get their vocal spot in so people can sing along in the audience? I think the last time I found myself being mad at a bad guy was maybe 1996 when Shane Douglas damn near caused a riot during an ECW event, tossing the injured member of the Pit Bulls to the mat while his head was screwed to some halo device.
He grabbed him by the halo.
That was actually, yeah, he grabbed him. For the newer viewers also, was it Gary Wolf? Well, that was the Pit Bull that had, yeah. He had legitimate neck surgery and his head was screwed into a fucking halo. And he was about to get it taken off, but still, his head was screwed, did I mention, into a fucking halo gimmick, like he'd been in a goddamn plane crash, and they had Shane actually grab it and jerk him to the ground with it, and that was fucking heavy, right? Anyway, he says Shane was easy to boo while watching that. When Joey Ryan plays Magic Dick, I don't boo him, I boo what wrestling has become. When Kenny Omega exists in a ring, I don't boo him, I boo what wrestling has become. When Mance Warner falls victim to an invisible invader and flies backwards through a table in the ring, I don't boo him, I boo what wrestling has become. Bring back the Andersons and Ric Flair breaking Dusty Rhodes' leg and me hoping the good guys get them back for it. Bring back King Kong Bundy injuring Hulk Hogan's ribs and me looking forward to Hulk kicking the shit out of him. Bring back Larry Zbyszko being himself. Heck, I'd take a masked Nazi at this point and he'd at least be easy to boo. Then again, with too many of today's we're so smart fans, they'd probably get him over as a good guy, especially in today's toxic environment of Trump and dude bros. Who on the Impact roster or AEW roster or MLW roster or ROH roster or any of the WWE rosters du jour or even the NWA roster have managed to rile pro wrestling fans such as they are today more than a manager turned promoter turned color commentator doing a couple podcasts a week and some masked Nazi from 25 goddamn years ago that probably lost to Tim Horner. There you have it.
And I think it would have been 27 years ago, to be fair.
Well, there you go. And I guarantee you, the Stormtrooper will not be booked on NWA Power as long as Liver Lip Lagana is around. I'll guarantee you that. But anyway, all these things are why I've come to the conclusion that my interest in at least being involved in wrestling is at an all-time low. I still like the good stuff, but you have to look to find it. I don't want to be involved in really anything anymore because that horse has left the barn after this last fiasco. And the fan reaction now is as much off-putting as the staged choreographed matches because they are literally applauding a performance rather than being emotionally invested in a fucking fight 98% of the time. And that's why, to me, it's so dead and lifeless and passionless. There's not only really no legitimate hatred anymore, but there's no legitimate love. You'd think that the fucking cosplay fans that get worked up, hopping up and down mad because that I tell the truth about their favorite wrestler and they emotionally sound like 14-year-old girls that used to cheer for the rock and roll, you'd think that they would have all the passion it would be necessary for the legitimate love, just like the legitimate hate. But they don't love them. They just love their love of them. And they hate it when I tell the truth about them, because then that makes people think that they love the wrong people. Does that make any sense?
How important do you think it is for a heel to cheat in their matches?
What? How? If you're a heel and you have a match and you do not cheat, how the fuck are you a heel?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not like important. It's like the thing that you do. You don't.
You don't just do flips with the other guy back and forth?
A heel never takes over on a babyface face-to-face. He never wins the fucking battle of the sucker. If there's a fucking hand stuck out and somebody goes for it and the guy gets kicked in the stomach, it better be the babyface doing the kicking. A heel never takes a babyface down from the front or fairly or on a level playing field. A heel doesn't out-wrestle a babyface. I'm not talking about every move, but in the end, he doesn't, which is why he has to resort to a shortcut or to cheat or distract the referee or whatever the fuck. No. And as a matter of fact, on the pecking order, the babyface is always stronger than the heel. The heel is always stronger than a manager. And the manager is actually, and the referee is always stronger than the manager also. The manager is the only one that can put everybody over. Anyway.
You want a good heel right now? Have a guy who goes in there against one of the flippy guys and doesn't do any of those flips.
And just slaps him out of the air.
Yeah, just completely no high spots. He's going to wrestle him. He's going to cheat. He's going to get him from behind. Every time he goes to the top rope, he's going to knock him off. That'll upset those fans a little bit.
Anyway.
Grab a headlock.
Grab a headlock. Take him over. Have a wrestling match. Well, we'll talk about the new style of wrestling in a second.